I think the problem is what people can't get in routine or rhythm is where they're like, okay, I'm gonna make my bed in the morning, I'm gonna go to the gym in the morning, I'm gonna get meal preps today, and they try to change their whole life in like a week, and then they get one thing done, and then they go, oh, I failed.
Yeah.
But like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I said, this is where I used to think like that. And I was like, oh, I failed. I can't do it. Everyone else is doing it. I can't do it. But success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile ideal or a dream. So, did you make the bed? You didn't make it to the gym. You didn't make it to the gym. You didn't do your meal preps, but did you make your bed?
Yeah.
And you made your bed and you didn't make the day before. Guess what? That's
progress.
Yeah. You progress. That's called success.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to the Millennial Mentality Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Agnelli, here with my co-host, Peter Price.
Yep.
And our guest today, Frankie Lanosa.
What's up?
Frankie, thank you so much for coming on. You're us avid listeners. This is Parker Lanosa's older brother.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you go back to episode 17, 18, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, he's early in the game.
We had Parker Lanosa on, who is a great young man, and he's in his latter high school years, but now we have his older brother, and I'm sure mentor on, and it's awesome to be able to see the comparisons just from knowing you guys just for these last few minutes, and how both you guys are really doing good in life. So it's cool to see that. And shout out to your parents because they did a damn good job raising kids.
Yeah, my parents are awesome, but it's like, just so you know, Parker, when you come back, you might be getting swole, but I'll still kick your ass.
Gotta keep him in check.
Now, I kind of know somewhat of your backstory from Parker's. I'm sure it's somewhat similar, but you were born and raised in South Florida, correct?
Born in Waterbury, Connecticut.
Okay.
Which is like 30 minutes away from Hartford. Parents wanted to trade the snow for the beach and the sand, and
understandable.
They moved down here. Mom, Dad, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for moving down here.
Yeah.
Moved down here, went back up and forth for summers like my whole life, but I'm a Floridian. I grew up here in West Palm Beach.
What high school did you go to down here?
I went to two different ones. I went to King's Academy, and then I really graduated from Trinity Christian, which is in Lake Worth near Park Vista area.
Now, you're a successful business owner, and we're going to jump into that, but in kind of sectoring, the timeline here, did you go to college? And if you did, why or why not?
Yeah, I went to college, and it's funny because I met Pete in the service industry, and my dad told me, he goes, Frankie, you're either going to pay $800 a month for rent, or you're going to go to college, or you're going to start a business. One of the two. So first route I took is like, all right, let me try the college thing out. Yeah. I had the definition of like average, like 2.96 GPA, like just enough to make it by. Yeah. And I went to college, did every single class. I did the total opposite of what I did in high school. Yeah. I was like, let me at least give it a full shot. And my ENC 1101 teacher, my English teacher, still failed me. So she failed 60% and she got fired. But she was like, you'll never own a business, she told me, because you cannot write a business email. Yeah. And till this day, I still don't think I can. But and I was like, well, I'll hire someone to do that. Hopefully one day. Yeah. And it was funny because, after that, I was kind of just took the approach where there's nothing wrong with college and, if you're going to be a doctor or, attorney, stuff like that. But I just said, I want to be a business owner. I've always been desired to be an entrepreneur. And I said, I'm just going to go network a ton in the service industry and just kind of see what happens. And that's kind of like where my entrepreneurial life really started, was networking over at Blue Martini, which is gone now, in City Place, and worked there for 4 years and figured out that I didn't like being on that side of the bar. I wanted to be with my friends. Yeah. And I remember sitting there one day, and I was taking garbage out at like 4 a.m.
Yeah. And
I sat there and I was like, there's going to be a day where I'm never going to take garbage out again unless it's for my friends or family. I said, this is going to end. And I said, I don't care what I have to do to get out of here. I said, I will drop all my friends. Sorry, friends, I did drop some for a while. I won't drink. I won't party. I said, every waking minute that I'm not at this job, I'm going to build something that I own and invest in my skill set. And eventually it took me about 1 year of working full time, not doing anything, not partying, giving all that up. And I was able to I didn't call in sick. I called in well. Well, I ain't coming in no more.
Yeah,
You know,
I love that.
and that's
That's
where it really began for me.
You know what I always ask myself is like this attribute of, you know, because for 90+% of the general population, like they will just stay in that blue martini job forever, and then they'll go to another job that they despise, and then another one that they despise, and then they'll die. And then, you know, I feel like a lot of people in retrospect, like the biggest thing on people's grave doorstep is like, I wish I made the jump. I made the leap. I tried more things. I always wonder where this attribute of like, fuck it, I'm going to just make that jump or that leap comes from. You know, is it an innate ability of like confidence in yourself? Is it just being totally fed up with where you're at? And it was a question I was asking myself, and I'd love to hear your take on it. Like, what was the catalyst for you just finally saying, fuck it, I'm leaving?
You know, it really comes down to, you know, Tony Robbins talks about, I went to a lot of his seminars, and he talks about like, it comes down to a traumatic moment. You know, like when someone goes from being obese or overweight to like being like, you just watch a 90-day, a 6-month transformation, like what the heck happened to this person? What? There was some point where they looked down, they could not tie their shoelaces. They couldn't see their shoes. And they're sitting there, they're like, I had enough of this. Enough's enough. That's what it came down for me. I absolutely loved the people I was working with at Blue Martini. They taught me a lot about corporate America and, you know, a lot what I liked and a lot what I didn't like. You know, taught me a really strong work ethic there. So I did pick up a lot of great things working there, just because, you know, when you're working 12-hour shifts, just doing anything you need to do, it's, for me, it just came down to, I just wanted my time freedom back. And, you know, I've been really blessed. My dad, my uncles, they were all very successful they were successful entrepreneurs. I wouldn't say crazy successful, but successful. And they instilled it in me from a young age. Maybe I had belief, you know, from a young age that I was like, if they could do it, maybe I could do it. You know, my dad raised me around personal development. You know, I have my backpack over there. I'm reading 2 books right now. You met my little brother Parker, so you could see, you know, kind of how my mom and dad raised us. They would like put dollar bills in the Bible and put dollar bills in Proverbs and, you know, just give us books, How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Magic of Thinking Big, Think and Grow Rich. And I think really my parents, they showed me that I could live a life of freedom. And once I was not free, I valued the freedom I used to have. And then I was just like, okay, I want that. And I'll do whatever it takes to get it. That's kind of, I know that was a little long of an answer.
No, it's perfect. And we had a guest, Liz Suit, on who owns several businesses, F45 in West Palm, F45 in Wellington, and she's opening a restaurant. But when I asked her that question of like, so she's a firefighter as well, and when she made that jump of like going from a firefighter, which is, you know, your hours, you know, kind of what to expect in the field and whatnot, to owning a business where there's so much unknown, was there stress in that jump? And what she said was so compelling that was like, no, I felt freedom in the fact that I control basically my destiny, you know, and I think that's a huge thing, and it derives to confidence, and there's several other factors, but I think there's a bliss in the fact of like knowing that you're fully in control. I mean, you cannot play the victim card at all, but you're fully in control of anything you want to do. And the reality of the fact is, if you want to push those limits and get further and do more, you can. There really is no ceiling on success. So when I think about like people in my life our age or even older that are doing successful things, it's just because they always continue to bet on themselves and they never doubt that the process is going to be a bitch, but that they're going to get to the finish line, you know, whatever that finish line is for them. So go ahead.
I would definitely agree with that. You know, I've started a few businesses now, and some took off. Some, they were supposed to be multi-million-dollar companies, and you know, didn't work out. You know, where a point where, you know, I broke my lease when I was like 24 years old. I always swung for the grand slam every single time. You know, I'm like, I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. I said, if I'm going to swing for the fence, at least I know I could go sleep on the floor and eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches if I need to, because no one else depends on me.
Correct.
You know, so long story, you know, for me, what always kept me going through the try and fail. But you know, it's the bottom is never the old bottom. You know, I'm not breaking the lease of my condo. You know, I'm not gonna okay, maybe you might downsize something, or maybe you're not going on 8 vacations. The bottom is always a new bottom.
Yeah.
And for me, I always looked at success was a progressive realization of a worthwhile ideal. So it's progress. That's success. It's not hitting a certain amount of money in the bank. It's not a certain weight. It's, did I get a little bit better today? So when my idea of success changed and it went from a certain point to hit to, did I make progress? Am I better? Did I learn a little bit more? Am I a little bit more disciplined than I was yesterday? You know what? That's a win.
Yeah.
And in my body, I could if I was consistent in my body and I could control what goes into my body, if I could control like just going to the gym once a day, that always, it didn't matter if I was dead broke and starting another business, that always translated right into my finances. Because every, physical, spiritual, mental, your relationships, if you lack in one of them, what I learned is you can't just be all in on one. It's all gonna bleed into each other.
Correct.
So that's what I learned. I was like, if I could always just stay on top of my body and be in the gym, and if I could at least control that one part, which doesn't cost any money. Anybody listening to this, you could control your body, whether you're broke or rich. And if you could do that, and you could build that type of little life momentum and consistency, you're going to start winning in other areas. So that's a big tip I could give to anybody, which doesn't cost any money to do.
Well, when you start controlling the controllables, the uncontrollables seem less of a big deal. And what I say about that is when you start forming discipline and every day you do the same routines and the hard things, when hard things come at you in life, because we never know where these unknowns are going to come from, I feel like you react to them differently because you're mentally prepared for the hurdle, right? So if you wake up every day and you do something hard, whether it's a cold shower, going to the gym, reading a book, whatever it is that's a struggle for you, throughout the day when you get the annoying phone call from the client or your tire pops or anything that gets thrown at you, you look at it, you're like, all right, this is a bitch, let's attack it, right? Because if you keep running from your problems, when the unknowns come, you're just going to keep running from them, or you're going to be the victim, or you're going to cry. And I feel like the more you can prepare your mind and be hardened in that mindset, the more you're going to be ready for the world. The world's a fucking bitch. It sucks. But if you can control your inner being in your temple, then everything else around you is, something, it's just another step, So now, Frankie, I want to get into I talked about you being a successful business owner. Give me the transition to the business and the steps you made to get into that business.
And tell us, what it is you do.
Exactly.
Break it down.
Okay. Yeah, I went from being in the service industry, and then went from being in the service industry, and I just found something that I could do part-time. And I wasn't part-time in my part-time. It was like every hour of my day was in that part-time. So I got into network marketing. I got into multi-level marketing. People call it a pyramid, whatever the heck people want to call it. It taught me personal development. It taught me how to present. It taught me how to follow up efficiently. I was in people's living rooms. People aren't really doing that anymore because of COVID. They do things on Zoom and stuff. I've been out of that industry for years now, but that industry taught me tenacity, grit. I was in people's living rooms driving 5 hours. I would drive in one night, and I would do this all the time. Drive to Jacksonville after a shift. I would drive to Jacksonville, show a presentation, hoping there'll be 10, 15 new people in the room, and then present them, it was health and wellness products, so I believed in it. And long story short, that's what taught me. I built for those companies as a subcontractor. You don't own the business, but you're a subcontractor of them. I built it to about 15,000 customers a few times. And then eventually they put me on a lot of trainings. From 21 to 24. From 21 to 24, I was traveling around the world, around the country. Went to about 20 countries. Spoke to from 3 groups of 3 people to 8,000 people. For segments of 30 minutes to an hour time. But I never been on a podcast. It's kind of funny. This is the first podcast. I've been in books. I've been on what could you say? Panels. I've been on panels, stuff like that. So for marketing, sales training, stuff like that. And they used me because I was like the young guy. I was 23. Like, look, if he could do it, anybody could do it, right?
Yeah.
So they want to get their kids involved. And I would get up there, teach, and they gave me a lot of experience because it built confidence in me. It's like, for me in the beginning was like, are these people like 50 years old? They're listening to a 23-year-old kid?
Yeah.
But what I learned is wisdom doesn't have an age. Whether it comes out of a baby's mouth or an old man's mouth, it's still wisdom.
Right.
So.
Were you always good at speaking and presenting, or was that something you had to learn?
I sucked. My dad taught me how to present at 14 years old.
Yeah.
And he was like, it was to my 2 cousins and my uncle.
What were you presenting then?
It was health and wellness.
Yeah.
It was a health and wellness. A company called Monavie doesn't exist anymore.
I know. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Bobby Puyo.
And
Yeah, shout out Bobby Puyo.
yeah. My buddy Scotty was 17, making like I don't know. He was making crazy money. Like I think it was like 45 to 60,000 a month at 17.
Wow.
It was like a crazy story.
Yeah.
I was like, if he could do it, I said I could probably make like $3,000,
Yeah,
right?
sick.
And my dad put me in front of the room, 3 people. I'm like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
I'm like that, sweating bullets. And my dad's like, all right, Frankie, say your name, go through the, let's go, what do you like about the products? What's in them? What does it do? And he would just kind of guide me along.
Yeah.
And eventually I started noticing I was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, this is pretty easy. When you get common results when you get uncommon results with common effort, and people just look at you and they go, you're like good at this. There's a point where people go, you're good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I good? And I was like, maybe I am. And then they started putting me, I was 15, 16 at the time, so they started using me on stages, like in front of like 100 people, and my dad would come up and do the same thing with me. And that's where I started getting confidence from there.
Yeah.
And then
That's a young age, bro.
it was a very young age, very young. It was, but that's the story of how I started presenting.
Yeah.
And then that led into going into another company, and I started doing contracting work now in the whole industry.
Yeah.
It's a $100 billion industry, which is multi-level relationship marketing.
So you were a consultant?
I started consulting.
Yeah.
So I was on distributor boards where they would teach. They said, this guy's a young guy. He knows how to build systems on how to get a result.
Yeah.
Teaching a new customer or a rep how to share a product correctly and create and duplicate themselves, which is another rep or another customer, or take a customer and turn them into another customer, or take a customer and turn them into a rep, right? Where they're passionate about the product line. Now they're like promoting it. Like you can even see like a modern day Bang or First Form, or like with Andy for something, like how he does that, right? Yeah. People they don't even get paid from it, and they're passionate about First Form because of the culture.
Correct.
So that's what I would do.
Okay.
And I would go company to company, fly in, do all that. And then eventually I was sitting there, I started building courses for e-commerce.
Okay.
I was like, I don't want to do something where it's based on 1% of the people, 1% of 1% being good speakers and orders. So for me, I was like, I want to do something that I feel like if they just follow this list, they could do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old you are, young you are, you could buy something for cheaper and sell it for something more expensive, whether you're using fulfillment by Amazon, whether you're doing drop shipping, whether you're doing wholesale, whether you're going to Goodwill and flipping stuff.
Yeah.
If you could just follow directions, you could do it. Anybody could win and make money. So I got into that. Me and my dad got some stores to like doing some 6-figure income, and I was like, you know what? I knew how to teach systems, and they recorded me, and they would give me like $1 million, $2 million budgets with a group of like 15 people, not just me. And we would put together these training systems. I said, well, I already did it for other companies with their money. I know exactly how much the time frames need to be. I could do this for myself. Yeah. And I just started piecing it together and got that to where, my dad was going to kick me out of the house. This is a crazy story. This is not on video. So, this is actually I moved back in with my parents. I was 24 years old. I was like, Dad, this idea is going to work. And he got to the point that like, you need to go back to the bar business. You need to go get a job. I'm like, Dad, just trust me. Just trust me. I was doing like a pre-order of the course, posting my results of my own business for like 3 months. And I was like, in 60 days we're launching. There's this many spots, and I kept just pre-launching, taking deposits. And then my dad goes, if this doesn't work in 1 week, he goes, you're going back. I said, okay. And I remember I gambled it all on it, and I made like $26,000 that week.
Wow.
Damn.
And my dad was like, "Okay, you did it, right?" And then
You
one
can stay.
thing led to another. I sold that course information. I wanted to bring that back into network marketing to be the first company ever to do e-commerce education.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out with that company. Make sure your contracts are now written in Dubai law. Good tip for everybody. And then, but I took it in stride. Built another company my own company called E-comm Skills. And then that led into doing something with my good friend Joseph Carter, who is the founder of Automation Pays. I'm a partner in the company, and we both had our own thing. It was like 3 business owners, and we all had our own things going on, and we know we could all run our own things, but we're like, if we came together, what could we do together?
Correct.
And we're all very humble. We don't have pride.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like we've been on the state. We don't care about that
Yeah.
anymore. It's like it's more about, hey, let's create a quality service that's gonna change people's lives.
Yeah.
And that people will get treated well. And we said, instead of teaching people how to run these Amazon, Walmart, Shopify stores, why don't we just train our employees, because
Yeah.
we were all in education, and said, let's just train our employees how to do it. And now they don't have to waste all the time and money, because the number one thing is people would call me all the time saying, "Frank, I don't get this. This is confusing me, this, that." And I was like, man, if I had more time, because they just really wanted so much of my time, and I just didn't have time for everyone.
Right.
So we said, let's just do it for them. And then we made it a full management company. And now it's kind of funny. We were just talking about letting things flow.
Yeah.
Now we're going, and we grew the company. I came on board last year. We went from 1 million to about 10 million. And it's been such a blessing. And now we're going into real estate and other stuff. But I know that was like a crazy evolution of a story, but that's how we ended up where we are today. And it's amazing.
And so in a nutshell, the company now puts together these Amazon stores or online stores for a client that reaches out to you saying they have a product to sell, but they don't know where to start on how to sell it.
We have proprietary software that we had developed that goes through the internet and finds products that are trending in high volume. We get about 100,000 products a week.
Okay.
The products are then cross-referenced and showing which ones are the most profitable. Then we have a product research team of about 11 people that their full-time job is to look at what the software kicks back and see which ones have the best margin, how many people are competing in these mechanical pencils. How many people are competing, how much inventory do they have, and is it worth it to do this for our client? Because we work off a profit split. We eat what we kill. So then we have a whole different team of people that just get you approved, get through the application process. We have a whole other team that handles all customer service on behalf of the client store. So they own the store. We're just managing that.
And are
for
you
them.
advising them on what they should be selling in the store as well?
We're not advising it. We do it all for them. It's
So how does the
100%
client
managed.
how does the client find you?
How does the client find us?
Yeah.
So I handle most of the marketing for the company. Most of it, I would say 50% is through warm, because people have great experiences. And the other 50% will come through just our videos through TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SEO, all the different
And so what type
channels.
of person reaches out? Because they don't necessarily need to have a product to sell yet, right? Because you're
Correct.
finding the product for them. So what kind of people do you find are
These are
signing up for
people
this?
that want to. It's not the word franchise, because legally can't say that, but it's like people that are shopping in between that 30,000 to 30, anywhere from 35,000 to about $70,000 is what it would take for our team of people. We have over 60 plus employees now. To run every part of their store. Like, we have a 30,000 square foot facility with about 22 employees in Jacksonville, Florida. So products get received, they get scanned in, checked into the store. Then from there, they get palleted up and sent to the Amazon fulfillment centers, which is all those Amazon Prime trucks that you guys see driving everywhere. And so they're fulfilling those orders. We manage the back end, all the customer service, any questions on products we're answering on behalf of their store. We're doing all the product research for their store, making sure we're buying the correct products, the right amount of inventory of those products. So it's any type of returns. We have a warehouse in Salt Lake City, Utah that handles all returns. That's our employees also that handle all the returns on the client's behalf. So it's a full circle, fully managed business.
So it's someone that wants to get in the e-commerce game or like wants to own an e-commerce business but doesn't have any knowledge or need to have any knowledge of where to start.
So instead of them going through the growing pains, like I had one friend of mine I met, he was a banker. He was doing Amazon FBA, so he did all the product research on these dolls, right? And he bought $10,000 worth of dolls. He did a whole year course, spent $5,000 on a course, the whole thing. Buys these dolls, does all the research, talks to the manufacturers out in China, gets them shipped over. They're sitting in the Amazon warehouse selling. He sold about like 30% of them. And then he gets an email from Amazon saying, hey, the one of the dyes inside these dolls it doesn't go with regulation. So it's if the kid puts the doll in their mouth, this is not we're gonna basically they said we can't sell this product. Where do you want us to ship this to?
Wow.
So those are like stories that happen inside of this industry. So instead of people going through all that growing pain and trial and error, which could take them by the time they learn about it, it could be to be an expert in anything takes 3 to 5 years.
Right.
We've been doing this for most of our best people and have been doing it over 7-8 years. So instead of people having to go through all that, they want to be in e-commerce. But they just don't have that 20 to 30 hours to invest. It's a real business.
Correct.
You're handling customer service. You're doing product research. You're handling returns.
Correct.
You're gonna have happy clients, unhappy clients. There's gonna be product defects where some stuff gets damaged in the mail, and it's like you got to have those 20 to 40 plus hours a week to invest into that business to make sure it's ran properly. And if they don't have the time, but they still want to have passive income, and they want it to be something that's out. They still want passive income, and it's an asset that's growing that they can exit one day, and they want it to be untraditional. That's where someone like that would come to us.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty dope.
It's
Thank you.
A genius. A few questions to unpack here, and the first one is basically your client is just fronting the money.
They're putting the capital and the credit necessary to be able to fulfill purchase orders.
Okay. Now, your company business plan is basically taking I'm assuming a cut of the sales of your client, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'll compare it to, because my mind works like this, is like, say in the real estate sector, I have $250,000. I want to buy into a house that I want to make an Airbnb, and I want a property management company to run that Airbnb fully. I'm going to buy that house, and I'm going to pay that property management company to manage that property, run everything through, and then I make my cut every month. That's basically how it works.
That's basically that's exact analogy that I use when people ask me, like, well, what do you guys like? We're like a property management company for Amazon, Walmart, Shopify, Facebook stores. And that's what we do.
Now, in a situation like you just said with the bears, where someone, a friend, bought these bears and there was a defect, or dolls, and there was a defect to them. On your behalf, in that same situation where you're buying the product, I know you've done the research and you've done all the things, but something happens. Are you eating that? I mean, how does that work?
So in the case of that, we make sure we have all blanket certifications from our wholesalers and distributors. Like someone who's randomly listening to this, unless you have a great relationship with distributors, they're not taking order from you.
Yeah.
They got to know that you're doing. They got to see a track record, and then once they see that, basically that you're legit and you know what you're doing and you're good for it, then they will start doing business with you.
Okay.
And all of our products, anything that we order that comes through that software that we had developed it's already blanket certifications for all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's not something they would ever run into that problem with us.
Perfect.
That person I met that was working at the bank and he told me about it. He didn't do the proper. He did a lot of product research, but there was 1 or 2 things. If there was a checklist of 20 things he had to check for, he missed 1 out of 20.
Yeah.
And
Makes sense.
And so that's the security they're getting going with your service, is that all that homework has already been done for them.
they're leveraging expertise.
Yeah.
So they're leveraging that they don't have to put the time the time investment in weekly to run their business that they own, and they get to leverage years of experience.
Yeah.
And like, if you take a mom and pop that are trying to run their little Amazon store, they don't have proprietary software.
Yeah.
They don't have a full customer service team. They don't have warehouses of people that they only handle returns.
Correct.
They only handle making sure orders are being fulfilled on time.
Yeah.
And if products are in and out of stock, like we have a team of people that only specialize in each category, in each department. So it's like, it gives them an edge. So that's what I would say is we're leveraging that. We don't have to come up with tens of millions of dollars, especially when you hit that $1 million mark with credit. You start hitting a threshold.
Yeah.
So it makes it a cleaner business because every single store is owned by its own entity, which would be an LLC, S corp, etc. And then from there,
And that's the client?
the client owns the store. They're in annual service agreement for us to manage that store for them.
So you said it earlier. Eventually, if the client wants to, they can exit that business and sell the entire thing.
Yes, we had one of our clients that started a little over 3 years ago with us. We got them to about $250,000 net profit a year, hands free. And last February, so last year around this time, they exited that store. They exited that store after about 2.5, 3 years. For $685,000. It was a married couple. The wife wanted to get their home. They always wanted to get that. They had kids coming on the way, and we put the store on a broker site for them. They sold it. We don't take any piece of that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No, not one piece. We
Wow.
we only get paid based on the performance of the monthly sales of that store.
Okay.
That's great.
So, I mean, I'm sure you were happy for this couple, but
Absolutely.
business-wise, it doesn't benefit your company if the people eventually exit.
We offer it to them for us to keep managing that store. Obviously, we do a good job, so they were like, they considered it. They didn't end up coming with us. They took it for a different purpose.
Right.
Who the client who bought that store from them,
Right.
but we're happy for them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's
of
the whole
course.
goal of
That's
it,
the
right?
whole- yeah.
It's like my goal is they get to look back and say, man, I'm so happy I got in business
Yeah.
with these guys at Automation Pays because they set us up for things that we always wanted to do. Now they're in their dream house. It's built. They have, I just got you would know him if I said his name. I'm not going to say
Really?
it, but he's posting all the time. My buddy Rick, they just had a kid. Brooke? His store, we just got his store to I think he's at about $35,000 to $40,000 a month in gross sales, and he's having a kid this week.
That's great.
It makes me feel great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's just about having a business mindset and being patient. It's because it's a real business. It takes time to tenure everything and age it.
Right.
But
So,
but
I
it's
mean, you
fun.
just talked about that example. Them, from start to exiting was 3 years. What's like the average, by the time you start seeing profit? Is it pretty
average
variable based on
average you'll start seeing on average from the hundreds of accounts we have over going on 600 stores under our management.
Wow.
And that's made up from about 300 clients.
Okay.
So most of our clients do have multiple stores with us, multiple services. So the average return on investment from what we've seen is about 6 to 8 months.
Okay, yeah.
6 to 8 months.
So you got to go ahead.
So you said most customers usually have multiple stores with you. Is that just like once you start seeing that profit, most of them want to reinvest that profit into, because you're getting residual income.
They'll do like a fulfillment by merchant, which is drop shipping.
Yeah.
Then they'll start seeing results very quick with that.
Right.
And then they're like, okay, it works. It proved concept now.
Right.
These guys did what they said they
Why
were
not
going to
have
do.
two of them?
Let me get a FBA store, a fulfillment by Amazon store, which is wholesale.
And what's the difference between that?
Fulfillment by merchant, we're listing anywhere from 500 to 5,000 products that we do not have on hand. That the merchant is fulfilling. Target, Sam's Club,
Okay.
Walmart. So we're constantly in a, is the product in stock? If it's in stock, we'll keep it published. If it's out of stock, we'll unpublish it
Okay.
and wait to come back in stock. So now we're not buying any product up front. There's no liability in that case where, we're not storing all this inventory.
Okay.
We're letting BrandsMart, Sam's Club, Best Buy, all them store all that inventory. They use it, and as it sells, because they're not going on Overstock.com
Right.
to find the foldable plastic table, 12-foot table, that's there for $20. They're on Amazon buying it for $50. Why? Because they want it right away.
Right.
And so that's where we make that margin for the client.
Right.
Because that was my next question is why not just go to Walmart.com and buy your stuff? It's because the time factor and I guess the convenience of Amazon, I guess, directly for consumers.
Well, everything on Walmart.com, most 85% of the products that are on Walmart.com as of last year are now third-party sellers.
Wow.
So they copied Amazon's. So I mean, do you know they copied the platform? Do you know? And their business model because it works.
Yeah.
So what is it? You know the Moroso Speedway over here?
Yeah.
How they're like in a big fight with Walmart?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're knocking it down.
Really?
Because Walmart is putting Walmart fulfillment.
No shit.
Wow.
So just how they do FBA, you see all the Amazon Prime trucks?
Right.
It's called Walmart Plus.
Wow.
They're competing. And then you're going to see in the next year and a half, Target is going to roll out with their free 2-day shipping.
Wow.
And Amazon's going to 1-day shipping.
Yeah.
And now they're going to, like Amazon Prime doesn't exist in Europe. It doesn't exist in Australia. When that opens up, now that's all new business.
Wow.
So it's like we're pioneering this. And full management of e-commerce stores has really only been around for the past 3-4 years and really dialed in over the past 2.
Wow.
So the people that know about it, and the people that don't are just starting to learn because they want to be involved in Amazon, but they're just buying the stock.
Yeah.
They don't know how to get on the
Or
passive
just buying
side.
shit on Amazon.
Or they're just buying. I mean, everybody, over 60% of people over the age of 18 in the United States have an Amazon Prime membership.
Yeah, believe it.
So, we're all buying on there all the time. It's just now the person could be on the other side of the button.
You talked about stuff being in stock for the stores for a second. Like, does the store ever completely change for the same client? Like if one day you're selling the mechanical pencils, but now all of a sudden there's no mechanical pencils to be bought everywhere, or like the trend of mechanical pencils ended, will that same store then completely switch products to sunglasses if the algorithm or the program says that that's what makes sense?
If we're doing like pencils isn't a seasonal item, but let's say you're doing thermal gloves.
Yeah.
Right? So if we're doing FBA, we're buying product up front and we will only test quantities of 10 at a time.
Yeah.
And we never allow people to buy more than quantities of 10.
Yeah.
So that they can't say they didn't receive it, stuff like that,
Sure.
so we're ensuring the client. But when it comes, that only happens with seasonal items. So right now for our Amazon, like FBA clients where we do buy product up front, we do have a lot of product research. Like the example with the dolls I gave you, he had to buy it up front and send it to Amazon
Right.
and they ship it as it sells. That's the only way to have an Amazon Prime product because they have to have the product in their possession to know that they're going to get the free 2-day shipping to them.
Correct.
Right? Like in that case, we started doing product research for Easter back in November.
No shit.
So we were doing Easter products and ordering them in November so they would arrive in February, early February, so they could start selling now.
Wow.
Like the Easter egg painting kits, all that stuff,
Genius. I just thought about, remember when the fucking toilet paper and paper towel shortage happened last year? Yeah, that was horrible, dude.
If a hurricane comes around this season, it's probably going to happen again.
Dude, I never got that fad. I never understood why that was the thing. I
still don't.
Yeah, maybe there's a conspiracy. I was thinking about Publix Plus, too. Imagine if Publix did an Amazon there.
No, it'd be fire. I'm sold. I already do Instacart.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Does
Amazon's
Publix do
pretty
that?
fucking impressive. Well, Instacart's a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And Instacart,
What's that?
it's like almost like a
Like a
third-party
DoorDash.
delivery service for groceries. So I pay $99 a year, and for free, these people will
That's
go.
all it is?
I have heard of this.
It's
Shut
great.
up. It's
$99 a year, bro, and I get delivery for free every day. I could order
Is there a
groceries
service
twice a
charge?
day. No.
Fuck out of here.
I
That's
I
it?
tipped the driver. But
What? That's it?
yeah, $99 a year.
Why would you not do that?
Bro, I've been telling you this for the last 8 months that we've
And
been
I
doing
make
this
fun
podcast.
of you every time.
I know you do. I don't
You didn't
understand
tell me the
it.
price.
You didn't ask. I didn't know
fucking-
the
I
matter.
don't- DoorDash-
It's been that price for a while too, because I went into this the stay-at-home moms like for a chiropractor around here,
Yeah.
actually around this area, and there's stuff just keep getting delivered. I'm like, what is this?
All
She goes,
day.
she goes, I forgot it was Instacart.
Instacart,
But she's
yeah.
like, yeah, I don't shop for anything. It all just
Nope.
gets delivered to me.
And they've got like the list of stores that it used to like just be Publix, Target, CVS. They represent like 50 stores now. You can get like PetSmart, Costco. You don't even have to have a Costco membership, and they'll go shop at Costco for you because they have the membership.
That's
and then they'll
dangerous.
deliver your Costco groceries
wish
to
I
your-
thought of this.
It's
Yeah.
genius, bro. It does sound like the kind of business you'd be into.
Oh, it's simple.
So the last thing on the business thing I want to talk about is I find a lot of people in our age that are doing pretty well. Yeah, you have anywhere from $5,000 to $30,000 that you want to invest, right? You're not doing crazy money, but you're a successful little business owner and you got money to invest. Last year I did in Bitcoin, I flipped it, I did all right, didn't lose my ass, but I still had that money and I still do to want to invest. What is the ground that you need to come up with, or the bottom that you need to come up with to invest in one of your stores?
We get people funded at 0% interest within about 2 weeks. So if someone didn't want to use capital and they wanted to leave their capital in their bank account, I mean, I would always rather do 0% interest on anything I buy.
Yeah, that's sick.
And keep my cash in my bank, right? To have
Every
leverage.
day.
So
You're saying it's 0% interest?
That's crazy.
yeah, for minimum 12 to 24 months.
Wow.
As long as their credit is over, if it's over 700, they're pretty much getting them approved. I've never seen them not get approved within 14 days, funded. They're usually always getting people for 30,000 up.
Wow.
So a lot of, I would say 50% of the people do take the funding option, just because I tell them, I was like, listen, I go, if it was me, I would do the funding option too, because
at 0%,
it gives you 12 to 24 months to get, now you own a business that's being fully managed for you, and it's creating passive income and it's an asset. I'd rather use the bank's money at 0% interest. It's like having positive leverage on a rental property.
Correct.
Right. People do the same shit in real estate all the time.
It's just online property.
Right.
And people don't understand that yet, because you could literally sell the store.
Yeah.
Once the algorithm is working in the favor of that store and it has great reviews, you could literally put anything on that store. You could make you could do fulfillment by Amazon, you could do drop shipping, you could do private label, white labeled products. Because that product is not, that store is trusted in the algorithm of Amazon, it now will send more customers its way. And that's the simplest way to say it. So now companies will buy that, they'll acquire it, and they'll use it for private or white label products, and it's crazy. So once more people start understanding that, it's an asset that grows, that they own, that gives passive income bi-weekly. That's what people start getting excited about.
I'm excited right now. You got me excited here right now, dude. I'm excited.
Text you later. Yo, bro, where do I go? Well, that's it. Yeah, you heard it here. I mean, if you want to start investing and start getting passive income and you don't know which route to go, if you have a good credit score and you know what you want to do financially, I mean, it's a great option to do.
It makes a lot of sense.
That's amazing.
And you're with there's, we're a real company, real in-house.
Okay.
Our employees are really on payroll. We're not subcontracting out for returns. We're not subcontracting out for, which there's no wrong. We started like that, subcontracting. Sure. But when you have control of every end of your business from your tax team and it's all in-house, it's not, we're not waiting on their business to open. We're calling they're on our payroll, so we call them and just say, hey, what's up with this?
And what I love most about your business model is, from a client's point of view, like from my point of view, I would trust it because you're getting paid based off of performance. So if the store isn't performing and I'm not making money, you're not making money, right? So is
that correct? You're not just getting your service fee, but you also get a percentage of the profit? So is there incentive for the store to do well?
Absolutely. Everyone from the manager of that store will get about 5 to 10%. So it'll be like a 50-50 to a 70-30 split in favor of the client.
Okay.
So then,
but everyone on board has incentive to make sure that store does good.
So let's say let's say one of our managers is, once they're trained, which takes about 3 weeks to fully train them. Once they're trained, they're getting about 5 to 10% of the growth of that store. So we give them a salary, plus we give them 5 to 10, and we cover that salary. So you guys know that.
Sure.
So 5 to 10% of the growth of that store monthly, they're incentivized to make sure they do well. The manager that oversees that employee to make sure that everything's ran correctly is getting about 10 to 15%. And then us as the company will collect about 10 to 15% as well too. And then the client takes the rest. So every single person is all vested in to make sure that if that store wins, we all win. If it's not winning, we're not winning. So that's
See
really
why you're a fucking consultant,
cool,
Frankie.
man.
I'm sold.
That's cool.
I am in, man.
I like it.
Okay, so I texted you last night. I got a funny question for you.
Fuck yeah, you did.
And we typically switch the podcast from like more serious business to like just shit that pops up in my mind.
Let's go.
As a guy, you moan during sex?
No.
You say anything during sex?
No, I'm not much of a talker in general, to be honest.
You just straight eye contact, serial killer look?
You're not vocal?
No, dude. I mean, not like that. Like
a, ooh, I like that?
Why is my girlfriend laughing?
Frankie's over here screaming.
No, I don't know, man.
Oh my gosh.
You don't say nothing? Like, you look sexy.
No, I don't. No.
Because here's the thing with me, like, I always, like...
Hit me with your best line. What you got?
Well, that's the problem.
You look
like,
sexy? Is that what you
I
said?
try to do, like, some 50 grades of... Say... Okay, what? What?
50
Shades
Shades
of Grey shit. And...
You don't have to do the what. I just edit
that's
it in.
true.
You know?
And it just never comes out right. Like...
Exactly.
My voice
So I
members,
learned
like-
that, and I just kept my mouth shut.
It's cracking.
I tried like a you like that, and it was like that, dude. It was super awkward, killed the moment.
Oh my god.
So
No, I mean, okay, words will come out of my mouth every now and then.
like
but-
what? Give me like an example, Pete.
Oh God.
It's so wet.
Probably not. You like that rung a bell, and I was like, I've definitely said that before, you know.
But
No, I don't have dialogue for sure.
how about you, Frankie?
Babe, what's your favorite thing you hear me say?
Call me daddy, bitch.
E-commerce.
Drop shipping.
You drop shit that ass.
That's so good.
Okay, that was a good question, Nick,
Yeah.
but I don't really know what answer to give you, man. I mean, yeah, am I silent? Nah, but like,
I'm the same way.
am I a talker? Nah.
No. Yeah.
I almost feel like,
Because it's an insecure question I ask myself is like, should I be vocalizing more? You know, like.
Do you don't like vocals?
yeah. What's your opinion?
They're gonna be in a car ride home, and Frank goes, "Wait, what? You don't like that? You never told me that."
All right. Well, the world may never know.
Yeah, that's so funny. Frankie,
Unless you
Frankie's gonna switch it up next time he has.
Listen,
whatever
unless
it
you
is.
go on the amateur side of Pornhub and look up, I'm just joking.
Yeah. Page 62. Don't ask. So that came
So
to my mind, and I
indecisive.
don't ask why. But yeah, that was crazy to me, and I think we also have a skewed view of it because of porn, and like of this crazy thing where the girl's screaming and the guy's like saying crazy shit, and it's all working together, but they're just professional actors.
It's
kinda.
choreographed.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the vote? Are people like sitting through the 15-minute monologue in the beginning, or are they skipping?
Skip.
So, you know, it's like
It depends on the day they catch you.
it's like preheating the oven a little.
How much
bit,
time
you
do
know?
I have?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Is it an experience or is it just like a rush of testosterone? You know, but on a good day
How much
where
time do you
I
have?
got a good 30 minutes to myself, listen, I want to know the backstory, right?
I want another back.
Why are you stuck in the washer? You know, like why? What's happening here? You know, and then I want to know, you know, is the stepmom okay? You know, and then
It's always stepmom,
you know,
stepdad.
yeah.
Face it.
It's a crazy fetish, man. Stepsisters and stepmoms. It's like, I guess, but like I've never heard even like from a crazy person who I wouldn't even believe, like, yo, I fucked my stepmom. Like, is that?
That's probably why it's like the dopest
yeah,
fetish.
that's
'cause
true.
Don't tell your mom.
Dude, porn is insane, bro. It really is. And like
it
I asked
comes
him,
up on this podcast
yeah, a
way
lot,
too
yeah,
often.
sorry. But I asked him this question the other day. I said, would it be weird if you were just sitting on your balcony or something, you looked across and someone's, you know, blinds were open and a guy was having sex with a girl, whatever it was, and you just stood there and watched? He's like,
Would
"Fuck."
it be weird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what porn is to me, right?
Yeah, except it's like a zoo in that porn. It's like
Yeah, right. The people in the window that you're peeping on didn't sign up to be watched.
That's kind of true.
they watch.
guess it is a little creepy.
Listen, we live on the 41st floor and in like Las Olas, and
Yeah.
we always have the windows open, and we just don't stop when they see, right?
It's like you go in.
We should have took the podcast in this direction a long time ago.
It's like you
Frankie
walk,
was ready for this segment.
you walk into my bedroom. There's binoculars on the window. Oh my god.
I thought these were the main questions I was coming
Yeah,
to.
I know, he was so prepped. My dad does have a telescope on his balcony, and I always I know he doesn't give a fuck about the stars. What the hell is that guy looking
good
at?
Point. You know, listen, whatever. It was so awkward. I lived in an apartment 3 years ago, and the apartment that sistered up next to me, I guess there wasn't a lot of drywall in between because every like night these people were getting after it, and I would
Good for
just
them.
sit there like, sometimes it'll get me a little
Jealous?
excited.
Sometimes
sometimes
5 minutes, 15 minutes.
Dude.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, time to switch
That's why
positions,
he likes to listen to the backstory, because he's been listening to it for years in that apartment.
I'd be like, oh, it's 10 o'clock. All right. Where's the lotion? But I'm
Jesus.
sorry. Don't judge me. And see, I say things people think, but maybe they don't think out loud.
Well, if there's one tip I could give, outside of forget the whole Amazon thing.
Yeah.
It's called incognito. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's good advice.
That's from an early age. And it makes you think, like, we were born and raised with, like, porn on the internet, but, like, were our dads just beating off the Playboy? Like, how did that work?
No, I think so. I mean, yeah.
And, like, just nude still photos?
But
Yeah.
I thought about that, and I was like, because we were the test generation.
Yeah.
Like, we were the generation where porn on the internet first popped up.
Yeah.
Like-
we were the test generation, and they were like, we hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
They love it.
Like we're on our 1999, 2001 Dell computer, and your friend at school goes, "Oh, look this up," and then your computer has AIDS, right? It's
Yeah,
like-
exactly.
And they're like, "What's wrong with it?" Your parents didn't even know there was porn on the internet.
Yeah.
Right. They were confused, too.
So they had to go to a gas station and say they want whatever one they want.
Man, and imagine how awkward that must... Like, okay, so do you think it would change the ratio of how many dudes were looking at porn? And I guess we'll throw girls in there, too, because we know they exist. If you had to go to a store and buy the porn,
Yeah.
it would definitely be a drastic difference of how many people were watching porn, right?
Yeah.
Would you go to the store and buy the porn?
Fuck yeah, I would.
I don't think I would.
Yeah, I'd put it under the milk or something, like.
It'd be more the
self-checkout.
awkwardness of having to look at some other dude at the counter and buy
Like,
the porn.
I'm about to go beat off.
Hey, could I get
that? Yeah.
Captain Cock
Yeah.
or like whatever the fuck,
I'd be like, "Hey, which one's your favorite?"
Yeah.
we only get the stash in the back. Where's the
Take-
good ones?
Well, it's crazy because this Gen Z is going through this like OnlyFans age, right? And where like, it's just crazy to me that on either side of your opinion of whether you think it's totally okay or you think it's sinful, whatever the hell you think, like you could have a girl from high school, there's someone you follow and who's just like naked online or having sex online and just like but to me for some reason, and I'm not judging one way or the other, it's totally so much more socially acceptable to be like an OnlyFans girl than a porn star. Do you think? Or am I way off on that?
No, I mean, I think it's definitely true.
Yeah.
But I also think it probably helps the porn stars too. Like, because OnlyFans is so socially acceptable now, it's probably more socially acceptable to be a porn star too, because like the line is so fine.
I wonder how much of like a leap that is. Where you're like, I guess it's the money, because the money that these people are making are insane off of OnlyFans. It's
Right, if I was a porn star, I'd be kind of pissed probably, because like they've been getting the short end of the stick for years, and now all of a sudden these girls are hopping on the scene that haven't put in all the work, and they're just cashing out on OnlyFans.
The crazy thing to me is though, like when you see interviews with porn stars, not that I'm watching a lot with interviews with porn stars, but like
Who's your favorite one though?
Holly Holston. But not that I know. But when you see these interviews like 10, 15, 20 years down the road, a lot of them are saying like, don't do it. Like at the time I was getting the bag and I was whatever, but the residual effect of it really fucks with your head, your self-worth, all of it.
Talking about porn, right?
Porn, exactly.
With OnlyFans, I feel like that changes.
But I think the wave of it might, like everyone's in your mid to early 20s or late 20s, whatever it is, and you're, extremely good looking and whatever, it is, and you're making $10,000 a month showing your tits online, like that's great. But will that affect, and this is a question I don't know the answer to, will that affect either your professional life or your personal life down the road? I mean, what happens if, you're a single girl and then you're 29 years old, you haven't done OnlyFans in a year, but you meet the guy of your dreams and...
I mean, the short answer is yes, for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to affect those things.
I mean, I broke up with a girl for that reason.
Really?
And I don't blame you. I don't think I could
didn't
handle
know,
it.
and then she was like making like $40,000 a month on OnlyFans.
You were more
you
pissed
dating
about the
her?
profits that you
I
didn't get
figured
rid
out
of.
after, bro.
You didn't open a store with me and you...
No, and I didn't know till my friend sent me a message because she blocked me on all her accounts that her
Damn.
managers were promoting.
Yeah,
No
shiesty.
way.
Yeah, and then I figured out, I was just like, hey, listen, I'm like, the direction my life is going in the direction. I just don't see this working. She's like, yeah, I understand, and that was the end of that. But, we were just talking about this the other day, about like how, it's not like people in their young 20s. Like during quarantine, a lot of these younger girls, I'm talking 15, 16, 17, they look up to all these girls, like some really like like prestigious models, people that would never doing porn now going into OnlyFans doing like soft porn, and some getting into porn on OnlyFans, and they're looking up to this and they're like, oh man, why do I need to go to school?
Yeah.
Right.
So are we losing some of our brightest women that are smart to just easy money?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because
Yeah,
now
probably.
they have it. So that's what I thought about. I have nothing wrong with just a clarification. I don't.
No, we don't give a shit.
Sex
Yeah,
workers,
do
hey,
whatever
do
you
whatever you
want.
think. You got
Yeah.
me through some of my worst times, but
Yeah.
always there. You and McDonald's,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like for me, it's like once they're old enough to make a conscious decision,
Yeah.
you know, I just think that OnlyFans really I be on top of that when it comes to like how young are. I know they do the verification of identity
Sure,
and stuff like
you
that.
can
but
lie.
Still, you could get around that these days.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's a great
my
point,
thoughts
Frankie.
on it.
That was a good point. So, Frankie, let me switch gears. Knowing the habits that you have, knowing how disciplined you are, do you have like daily routines that you follow to keep yourself in line, keep yourself in check, keep yourself disciplined? Whether it's like journaling, meditating.
Yeah, bro. Absolutely, I do. And it's like, for me, it's like, I feel like I'm so ADD, and especially like the more your businesses grow and the more things you're doing, like you add a podcast, you add a fiance, you know, add my girlfriend now. You know, everything requires time.
Yeah.
So anything I add to my life is also, even though it's great, especially as I got older, I have to readjust, and I just have to keep readjusting my schedule and keep readjusting. But the main things are, you know, I journal every day. I've been doing it more, like when I moved and I was traveling, like I would miss a few days and I would really feel it. Like I'm like, okay, I didn't document, you know, there's something therapeutic about it for me.
What are you writing when you're journaling?
Like I'll read like I have a John Maxwell journal, which is based on it's a leadership daily journal. So it's very small for me. It's like I'm not overly digesting in the morning, but it's just a great way. I put meditation music on, no lyrics. It's called soaking music, and it'll just play for like an hour and a half. Like I won't be there an hour and a half, but I'll play that on and just be like a constant sound almost. Yeah. And it allows me just to focus on what I'm reading. And then I'll read it, try to take something away from it, and then it'll ask me a question. How are you going to do this? Like I think mine today was, how are you leading in this type of a way, the people that are following you? And then I just wrote, you know, I responded to that. And then in my other one, which is more Bible-based, I will just kind of put like what I'm going through, what my thoughts are of the day, you know, kind of just like what I'm looking to do. And then I have in my phone, I have an app that it's like, and I also put next to it, I have a piece of paper and a whiteboard that'll put I used to do it in the morning, but I do it before I wake up. So I wake up with one more thing done.
Perfect.
And I'll be like, what are the top 5 things, you know, kind of like, I was always been doing that.
75 hard,
Yeah, but it was like for 75 hard, I was already doing that. So it was like, it was kind of easy for me. Yeah. But those are the top 5 things I need to get done. Critical and then I'll keep on my whiteboard in my room, the top 10 things I need to get done. Yeah. So like, obviously there's like little things I put on the top 5 daily, but top 10 that stay there all week, it's like every time I walk in my room, it's in my face. If I didn't get it done, that's just on me at that point. Right. So I've like affirmations, I do all that. My routine is I got to work out when I wake up in the morning. If I don't start the precedent with getting motion creates emotion. So it's like when you get your body going, you get those endorphins going in the morning. For me, I go in the steam room too now. My building has a steam room. I literally moved there for the steam room. I moved there for my routine.
That's funny,
you know?
Man.
And it's just like I go from the gym to the steam room after I read and everything in the morning. And that's about it. And then like my routine changes. Now it's me and Christina grab breakfast at Java and Jam, which you know I never had. I barely ever had a girlfriend my whole life. So
that's awesome.
I'm blessed. But yeah, I guess that would be my daily routine. It does not matter when you move, if you're changing locations, make sure to get back in that routine. And that will, even if you fall off, you start seeing level things in your life, you start gaining a little weight, you're like, let me just get back to my disciplines. Daily disciplines done daily build character.
And that's a great point, because I always find, I mean, I've been a big like gratitude list guy my whole life, And I find that when I'm slipping on that routine, I may not even notice it, because sometimes a couple days will go by that I don't write. And, it's not like I'm going to bed that night going, damn, I didn't write. And, I know it. Because if I did, I'd probably wake up and go write, But sometimes a couple days will go by, or even, you get into a slump and, weeks and months will go by that you're just not on that routine. And I'll notice my life changes as a result, and I'll be in a slump and I'll notice I'm not feeling great. I'm not doing great. My business isn't as on fire like it was a couple months ago. And then I'll go, oh, well, I haven't been fucking writing. Yeah. And then I'll start writing in my notebook again, doing my gratitude list every day. And like a light switch, shit changes, and I can't explain it. I don't necessarily know why, but it fucking works.
Because, it's small wins of momentum.
Correct.
It's life momentum.
Yeah.
And it's like, Ed Milet says it the best. It's one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard him say. He goes, confidence comes from keeping the promises that you make to yourself.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
What we said last
it's
an
absolutely amazing thing, because when you make a promise to yourself, like even the 75-day hard thing, it's like, it builds a self-confidence that I could do this. And it's just like you start winning in every area of your life just because you're just so consistent in every single area. Even if it's the smallest thing, like writing 3 things. It's like, I did it. Yeah. And if I could do that in that area, I could do it in the next area.
Right.
Then that's how that line changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so powerful. We said it on the last episode. Your words have weight, and if you don't have respect to those words, how is anyone else going to have respect to those words? And the less you do what you say you're going to do, you have no respect for yourself, the words, your actions. Neither is anyone else in the world, right? So you want to start having people respect and have confidence in you. I mean, fuck them. Their opinion doesn't matter.
Have that respect for yourself.
But have the respect for yourself. Build that kingdom and that confidence. And then you'll realize that I told him the most powerful trait I think anyone could have is saying they're going to do something and do it. Yeah. Period. I don't care if that's in a state of motivation or a state of whatever. You say, oh, I'm going to wake up in the morning and go to the gym. Do it, right? Because if you wake up in the morning and you don't go to the gym, you're like, fuck, man, I just already fucked up something in the day, and then that's going to roll into the next. It's going to roll into the next. So, and I think a really good comparison, too, is like you watch an NFL game. It's not like the players just run out to the field and start the game playing. They warm up for 2.5 hours before the game, right? So if you think about your day, whether it's a professional day, you're a student, whatever it is, if you just show up to work like a lot of people do, they roll out of bed at 7, they show up to work at 7:30, you're just walking out of the bus into the stadium and starting the game, You have to prime your body, your mind, and everything to get into that life,
I watched a documentary on Jack Nicholson, I think, and he said, the golfer, he was like, the difference between the goods and the greats is in their preparation. Yeah. And he goes, every shot I take, I mentally visualize me hitting it at the speed I'm going to hit it at, the contact point, where I'm going to hit it on the club, where the ball's going to land. He goes, I do it every single time. He goes, and if I can't visualize it, I'll step away.
That's perfect.
And it's like, if people could really grasp preparation and how that really adds up to the rest of their day, even like an hour of it.
Correct.
Even if like people go, well, I think the problem is what people can't get in routine or rhythm is where they're like, okay, I'm gonna make my bed in the morning, I'm gonna go to the gym in the morning, I'm gonna get meal preps today, and they try to change their whole life in like a week, and then they get one thing done, and then they go, oh, I failed.
Yeah.
But like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I said, this is where I used to think like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I failed. I can't do it. Everyone else is doing it. I can't do it. But success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile ideal or a dream.
Good, yeah.
So did you make the bed? You didn't make it to the gym. You didn't make it to the gym. You didn't do your meal preps, but did you make your bed?
Yeah.
And you made your bed and you didn't make the day before. Guess what? That's
progress.
Yeah.
You progress. That's called success.
Yeah.
And when people get that, it makes them feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
Right when they start feeling good and they get a win, they're like, if I made my bed today, maybe I'll make my bed and make the food tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then eventually, those little, now they're a week, 2 weeks in, and they're doing all those things.
Yeah.
As long as they don't beat themselves up on the way and give themselves a credit and pat on the back, and you could, hopefully someone could take this and apply it to their life.
Yeah, I think that was well said.
That was so good.
Good shit, bro. You are reading 2 books right now, right? Is what you said? Mm-hmm. I assume that means you probably read a lot of books over the years, right?
Yeah, I was doing a lot more audiobooks, but I had to switch into like reading just because if I would listen to an audiobook and then if I really liked it, then I'd buy the hard copy of it. And that's what I do. So,
and why do you like reading better? Do you like kind of zone out, listen to the audiobook you find, or?
No, I enjoy the audiobooks. It's just, for me, it's just like, I honestly feel like maybe it's from technology over the years that my attention span really just shortened. And I listen to a lot of like documentaries and stuff on why attention spans are shortening, and there's like it's from phones and like dopamine shootings and whatever.
Yeah.
But regarding why do I like reading? You know, I just feel like it sticks with me better, especially when I highlight it.
Yeah.
And if there's something I really want to take away from that book and apply into my own life, I'll highlight it and then I'll read it out loud. And then you have I think what is the percentage? Something like 7. If you read it out loud the next day, you have a 70-80% chance of retaining that information.
I like that.
So that's the reason why if I like the audiobook or maybe I like a few podcasts from a certain type of an author, then I will buy their physical books or their most popular ones.
like that.
And go from there.
What's the best one and the most beneficial one that you've read over the years?
First one that comes to mind.
First one that comes to mind. I mean, for me, I'm going to say I'm a Christian. I'm going to say the Bible. So it's like that's like I got the most out of Proverbs and out of that. But outside of a faith-based book, for me, it would be probably How to Win Friends and Influence People.
I was going to say the same thing. I read that last year, and it was so good. It was so good because
It's sitting right here.
Because it really just people don't understand relationships. People don't understand people and how to communicate with them and how to take the higher road and how to influence them. And I think it's such a good book to read because it really kind of tells you how to play hands that you're dealt with different cards that you're dealt, you know, and how to react to things and work business. So
I would say the best audiobook, one of the best, is by Jim Rohn. It's like the art of an exceptional life by Jim Rohn, and there's just so much wisdom in it, like business deals going wrong, like how to recover from that and like get off the mat, like things that like unless you have a mentor like that's really next to you that went through those things, like you don't know how to like navigate those waters unless you learn from people that documented it and put it on paper or put it on an audiobook for you to learn. So that would be, I'd say that I've listened to that audio recording, The Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn. Great audiobook.
I love that. Well, I think that was a powerful episode, and I think that I'll tell you this straight up. I was always, and we joked about it, we had a guest, the second guest we've had on, which was Sam Alsop, and he did a lot with e-commerce and drop shipping. And my dad's such an old-fashioned guy, and I'm a blue-collar guy in construction where it's like, oh, those fucking drop shippers, you know, those Amazon stores, those e-commerce guys. And, like, you make fun of it in the blue-collar world, like, oh, put your fucking boots on and grab that hammer. But the more I learn about it, and life's about becoming educated, but the more I learn about it, it's honestly, guys, it's not going anywhere. I'll tell you that fucking right now. And anything that Paige buys, my fiance, is all off of Amazon, and you know, and I think it's a really smart thing. If anything, if you have any questions, contact Frankie, text him, message him, because like I said, it's there, and I think it's there to stay. It's not going anywhere. I'm not going to say you're going to get in early because it is around, but if you see the bell curve, like you said, there's a lot of countries that's still not even happening in yet.
That's not even open.
So it's a great opportunity if you're looking to invest, even if you don't have the capital, but you have a good credit score, you could finance, and start thinking money and residual income long-term, not just going to the bar or buying the fancy car or the watch. You know, start thinking long-term wealth and how that's going to happen. So.
Get informed. Get information.
Right. It's out there.
Frankie, thank you for coming on today. It means the world to us. Guys, we'll put his information in our bio, and we will see you guys next week. This is the Millennial Mentality. Peace.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Hey, you. You over there. Have you liked and subscribed to our page yet? I need you to like and subscribe to our page. Slow Zoom. You need to listen to me now. You best subscribe.
Keep going.
If on Elon Musk, if you don't like and subscribe to this page right now, there best be some problems up in here. Listen, have you bought our merch yet? What?
Oh, God. I'm crying, Nick. Oh, God. What? George yet? What? Oh God, that hurt. Sorry.
Have you seen our TikTok page yet? We've been TikToking. You best like that TikTok page. Share to your friends. What?